When I played Death Stranding for the first time, I stopped playing after, I think, before the 2 hours. I just couldn't get it, and I was bored. Second time, I think I had more time, I was more ready emotionally, and then I connected with the game. It's quite amazing, because I didn't expect that. But I asked myself more things. I wanted to get more into Kojima's mind and understand what the key motivation and influences behind Death Stranding. Now, I read many different things, but there's something related to social division, things that I mentioned, that I think he mentioned around Trump and Brexit, that led to foster connection and kindness in Death Stranding. The other thing, pandemic, which happened in the first development of the first game, it also was reflected there in a way to try to basically in the game reevaluate the connection as shown in the game. Also read things regarding Neville's Schuetz's On the Beach novel, which led him to build narrative around the connect motive, again, connecting a broken country, connecting people with each other, connecting as a message of hope. Also things related to cinematic and literature background and film and literature during specifically in his childhood. And that he applies cinematics, storytelling in his game. And of course, he put a lot of emphasis in that, really high quality, and he wanted it to be something quite significant in the game. I know that some don't like lots of cinematics and maybe lots of storytelling, but this was a very important part in order to tell a story, or more like allow people to emotionally connect with the story. And on top of all that, there's the personal experiences. And when I quote, half of what I create is based on real experiences. And that was mentioned on an article that I read on IGN. And again, this is to explore deeply emotional themes in the game. So there's a person with lots of experience and lots of inspiration that has lots of also things he experienced from childhood and that eventually led to, well, what he is today. And he wanted to reflect this complex way of how we views the world and how we maybe hope the world will be, also tackling issues that happened in the past, in his past, and also in the present. And he wanted this to be reflected in the game. But from what I understand, he really wanted to have effect on the player, even if it's not immediate, even if there is some rejection. He wanted eventually, if not now, maybe later, people will understand the message. And sometimes it does take time. Now you might say, well, it's kind of weird. This is a game. People want to have fun now. Who cares about the future? You know what's going to happen tomorrow. We want to enjoy your game now. Don't play with us. And I've seen many people say it like that. Why are you making things complicated? After reading quite a lot, I can actually understand that. You want to challenge players rather than simply comfort them. He aims for experiences that aren't mainstream or conventional, but rather grow on players over time, fostering a deeper appreciation. By the way, it also happens with Metal Gear Solid. I also saw a video that he mentioned that it wasn't actually, this game wasn't appreciated the moment it got out. It took time, several years until, I think like 2 years or something like that, until it got its recognition. Another thing is, I think we're just related to age. When you get mature again, and I know this from experience, you start seeing things differently. You kind of, hopefully, yeah, but more calm and collected and understanding of things. Ego is kind of settling down. And I really think that the aim is eventually just bringing positivity into the world. And you do it in an interactive media, in a game, through a game. It does want to, of course, evolve different type of gameplay elements that people love. Again, after all, it's a game. We want people to enjoy the game. But you also want the message to be embedded in the game as well. That's based on how I understand that. Now, I know this for many other things. The delivery is very important. If you say something, if you say the wrong way, people won't listen. And I think he wanted to use the game as a delivery, as also not just, to have this message delivered, but also have different gameplay elements that people will enjoy, and with cutscene, story, and everything, to deliver a special message. And this is nothing, I'm really great appreciation for that, again, because I understood that it's part of the message and I actually felt it. And I was emotional when I felt it. And the thing is, I needed to play quite a lot. And this thing kind of I understood why you're doing that. I understood why you did that. And I actually was affected by it. And I got emotional when I actually understood that. And the moment, again, I mentioned in my review that the co-op was so emotional because I finally understood it. Even more after I finished the campaign, where I got more time and resources to help others. And it just felt great. And just the part helping others felt amazing. Amazing. No words to describe it. Now, the polarizing nature of Death Stranding wasn't an accidental outcome. Instead, it emerged as a direct consequence of Kojima's deeply held philosophical approach to art and his specific intentions for the project. So I see like Hideo Kojima like an author, and basically he tries to write a story, but he wants to use the interactive media to tell it in a more engaging way for others to engage with it. I also saw a video that he actually mentioned that he was really fascinated at the beginning, before he even got to it, by video games, because, you know, the way you can actually tell a story and by using interactive media. Now, I think that for Kojima, being able to have freedom, complete freedom, and create whatever he likes, this is like the ultimate thing. Again, suggesting that his past success has not only afforded him a freedom, but also cultivated an environment where his unique artistic perspective was actively sought after by collaborators like Sony. And in various places he articulated an expectation that if a work is truly innovative and introduce a novel concept, it will inevitably be met with initial resistance or misunderstanding. And also read the quote, again, I'm going to repeat again, if 100 people play it and 100 people say it's fun, it means that the genre or the game already exists. But this is a new genre that will be people who don't get it. It will take time for real evaluations to come in, end of quote. But I do think that in order to perceive this game well, you need to have patience and time. I mean, this for the very least. Otherwise, you just feel that the game just boring and gonna waste your time. But I think it goes even more than that. I mean, he understood there's going to be a group of us who won't understand the message initially, but hopefully the way he wanted to deliver it, it will get to them. And once it will get to them, it's going to be kind of a revelation. It will open something in the way they understand things around it. Once it happens, it's going to be for them something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary. But for that, probably he wanted to play with their emotions, kind of a toy around, like juggling. Make something funny, make something intense, make sure, of course, the acting can deliver, focus, of course, on a very deep and emotional story. But I do think, personally, that was a bit too complex, especially, by the way, if you develop a second one and people haven't played the first one, it's going to be even harder for them to connect with. I actually think that the story is a bit too complex. And if you don't connect with the story, you don't understand the meaning of it, it just becomes the game. There's the gameplay, and you lose something so important that you won't actually be able to understand, maybe. Because usually you want to transfer a message, you want to do it in the most simplest way that everybody can understand, rather than create something that complex and try to explain things maybe in some jargons and words that people won't understand. You just lose the basic language for communication. And this is why I think in some way it's actually things that doesn't work in favor of the game trying to deliver a message. And this is something personally that I think that if I understand things correctly until now, I think that is actually missed the spot. That particular part. The delivery was too complex for some even to get into, and therefore the message wasn't received, or people just stop it. And again, you couldn't be in a situation where they receive it because you just stopped playing the game. And the game was a way to actually perceive his message. I also read that Hideo Kojima's stated motivation for developing Death Stranding are deeply rooted in his observation of contemporary societal fragmentation. He explicitly positioned the game as a direct response to the increasing global division, citing significant real-world events such as the election of Donald Trump that I read somewhere, and the Brexit vote in the United Kingdom as direct inspirations. Now, Kojima noted that while the internet ostensibly connects people, it simultaneously fuels conflict and division, remarking that The attacks and violence seen online these days are out of control. And the game, what I think he wants to do in the game, and here I'm going to quote, take a step back and be connecting. We learn how to be kind to others. And I have to admit, this message, to me at least, it was transferred beautifully in the game. Even furthermore, after I finished the game. Again, when I mentioned that I have more time and resources to help others, it was absolutely amazing once I just felt it. It was a good feeling, let's say it like that. It felt great. I understood what the game tried to achieve. Now, there might be people that don't like it, but this deliberate linking of the game themes to real-world political and social phenomena elevates the game beyond mere entertainment, positioning it as a direct and intentional socio-political commentary. Now, Kojima's assertion that, in quotation, all art, games including, is inherently political is a significant statement. This is a quote that I read on time.com, an article called We Are Not Thinking About Others, What Hideo Kojima Wants You to Learn from Death Stranding. And this was published on November 8, 2019. And this significant statement, placing games on par with other art forms capable of engaging with complex contemporary issues and reflecting a motivation to use his platform for social discourse. Now, of course, aside from that, there are the personal passions. We all have that, right? That's kind of push us through into a certain direction. And Kojima's artistic approach is also profoundly shaped by his lifelong passion for film and literature. He actually made lots of videos. I see it a lot on social media when he shared things about art, about film, even about food. And I also read that his parents fostered a tradition of nightly film viewing, exposing him to diverse range of genres, including European cinema, westerns, and horror. And I can think, based on that, we can definitely see that this actually have an effect on the games he creates. He also cast and choose and prioritize actors that he personally admires and has personal connection over traditional auditions. That we all can agree. We've seen in the game, right? I mean, not just actors, even people who admire, just give them the option to be presented in the game. Some of them as, of course, preppers. Now, regarding the design, people call it a walking simulator. Again, this is a defining characteristic of Death Stranding controversial nature, stems directly from Kojima's intentional design philosophy. He deliberately crafted the game's core gameplay around delivery-centered movement mechanics, a significant departure from an action-oriented conventions prevalent in the industry. And of course, we can't forget Metal Gear Solid that was emphasized on stealth, thereby introducing them to a new genre, similarly from Death Stranding. His aim was to gradually immerse players in the concept of delivery as the central gameplay loop. He coined the term strain game to describe his original genre, emphasizing its unique asynchronous online social elements, much like how Metal Gear was initially categorized simply as an action game before stealth became a recognized genre. And then that goes to something that I also mentioned, that he anticipated that for a truly novel genre, there will be people who don't get it. It will take time for the real evaluations to come in. That's what he mentioned. So this is that the walking simulator criticism often used by quite many people was not an unforeseen negative reaction, but rather an anticipated misunderstanding framed by Kojima as a natural response to a genuine innovation. Now, maybe some don't understand it, but Kojima's philosophy dictates the art should challenge its audience, not merely provide comfort or seek universal approval. He explicitly stated that if a work is universally liked, it means it's mainstream, and it means that it's conventional. It means it's already pre-digested for people to like it, which is true. Many games are made like that, to easily digest and deliver it to the masses. And again, this is a quality he actively seeks to avoid. His aspiration is for individuals to, in quotation, end up liking things they didn't like when they first encounter it, because that's where you really end up loving something. End of quote. Now, this approach aligned with the principle that art should make, again in quotation, make the comfortable uncomfortable and vice versa. Now, another thing that I was quite surprised actually seeing it again for the first time is the design choice that contributed to the game's unique identity for sure, and that's the like system. Not that we don't know anything about it in the real life, right? It's totally inspired by social media likes. Now, this system was met with negative reaction from his own staff because it offered no in-game currency or power-up value. However, Kojima prioritized the intrinsic, in quotation, good feeling of receiving likes, drawing a parallel to the psychological gratification found in real-life social media, acknowledging it as a strange design choice. And I agree. The thing is that when I got to see the likes, for me, it's not about... The only thing I felt good about is that I did something that people found useful. That's how it was for me. I saw, all right, I built a bridge and so many people like it. Tens of thousands of people like it. Some of them even more. So I knew that I did something that people found useful, and it felt great. I didn't need anything more than that. Just that made me feel great. So again, the bottom line is that Kojima didn't lose his track. He was very focused when he developed this game. This is his uncompromised artistic vision. He had all the freedom to create whatever he liked. This vision forged in a crucible of newfound creative freedom following his departure from Konami. And as far as I can see it, again, although again, it's not perfect, I have quite negative things to say about it, but ultimately, Death Stranding serves as a powerful example of how creative independence can lead to bold, unconventional works that push the boundaries of interactive entertainment. It solidifies Kojima's place as a significant artist provocateur in the video game medium, challenging the industry to prioritize artistic expression and innovation over conventional commercial pressures. And to be honest with you, come on, we all want more than that. We want different games, something that allow developers to create something unique and different, and without being pushed by publishers who lead them to a certain direction. How many times have I read people mention that? And there comes a developer who actually have all the freedom to create whatever he likes. Sometimes, of course, it won't be something that you like, right? It doesn't mean that you'll be happy with the result. But I can say that I'm happy that there is a developer that pushes something into that direction rather than just creating, just another game. I mentioned it, by the way, also in my review, that I'm so happy that I'm playing something different because, I'm playing so many games and, I always feel, again, something that there's so many things overlap that I don't really get to enjoy lots of those new games because just feel like, all right, it's the same like the other game. And this just felt something new to me, and that's why I liked it so much. By itself, it was a great experience. It doesn't mean there's going to be a fun game, of course, but it was fun for me, immensely. And I was connecting with this message. So I do find this artistic work to be absolutely phenomenal. It doesn't mean that you're going to have all the other things that maybe I hope for certain games, like, high replay value, great exploration, and other things that I'm looking at certain games. They're going to be those games, enough of this game for me to consume by their hundreds. I know that. But then comes this game that made a change for me specifically. And I want just to say thank you for Hideo Kojima for making something like that. And trust me, I wasn't a fan of Hideo Kojima at all. I'm actually not a fan of everything. I just like good games, games that make me enjoy, and sometimes games that, not sometimes, lately a lot of games that bring something new to the table. And this is why, by the way, I really like also Close Score Expedition 33. And that's it. It's just trying to understand more about it. This is again based on lots of information that I aggregated from the web, with some quotes here and there, and of course with some my own personal opinion about it. And yeah, at the bottom line, I'm happy that I played this game. I had fun. I connected with it, not all the time, but once I connected with certain aspect of the game, it made me feel happy and in some way a better person, I have to admit. Thanks for watching.